Hi everyone, how are we tonight? Welcome to my live stream. All right, so if you don't already know me, my name's Caroline. I'm a life coach. I work with women and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are looking to simplify their lives, their businesses, and really step back into their feminine flow so that their business and their life feels easy and effortless, and they stand strong in their boundaries and their sense of power. So I'm here today. This post or this live was inspired by my previous post. So if you haven't already looked at that, go ahead and check that out. So we're talking today about removing obstacles and up-leveling your problems. And I wanted to clarify what I meant by those two things and kind of give you some examples of what I mean. So in the context that we're talking about here, removing obstacles, this can be for anything in your life, anything that is causing you stress or discomfort, anything that is seen in your mind as a problem, right? So when I talk about removing obstacles, this came up a lot in my one-on-one client conversations. We always talk about things that come up for us and what's getting in our way, what's stopping us from making the decisions and making the moves that we know we need to make to reach our goals, to get what we want. So removing obstacles, I'm always asking them whenever they bring a problem to me, like this and this is going on, I feel this way, this is happening. I really want to dig deep and ask, okay, but is that really a problem? You know, is what you're experiencing really a problem, or are you making it a problem? Okay, so your circumstances are neutral. Whatever is happening, what's happening in your life, the thing that is showing up externally outside of you, is always neutral. What you're experiencing is your perception. It's your thoughts and your feelings about the thing that is happening that is creating your judgment of it, whether it's a good or a bad situation, a good or a bad experience. It's not the experience in and of itself, it's your perception of it and your judgment of it. Okay? So it's important to be aware of that in order to clear out anything that is not actually a problem. And your mind will try to create all kinds of problems. Okay, it will, especially if you are moving into something new, if you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, it will always create problems for you in your mind just to try and bring you back to the comfortable, trying to keep you safe in your comfort zone. Creating problems is just like overthinking everything that happens, creating what if scenarios, thinking about the future, thinking about things that haven't already happened yet. And it just spins you out on all of these things and creating mountains out of molehills. And it's all your perception. It's not really happening in your circumstance. So I have some tools here for you today to kind of discern what is and is not a real problem. Obstacles that you can literally just remove from your experience and clear the way of the path towards your goals so you can experience more ease and flow on your way there. It's so, my clients get caught up sometimes just in their minds, in their overthinking about problems, overthinking about things, and even creating problems out of thin air that don't exist just because their mind is taking them to this place that isn't rooted in the moment. It is somewhere else, right? So I have some rules for myself of how I determine what is and is not a problem, or a higher level problem, I should say, one that is worth spending energy on, one that is worth your time. then either removing that obstacle, removing that problem altogether, and then focusing your energy on the actual problems, the actual things that will make the difference and move the needle forward. So, and I like to call this just raising your standards for your problems, raising the standard of what you will and will not consider worthy of your attention, raising your standard of what you will allow your mind to spin out on, raising your standard of how you expend your energy, and being very intentional about what you think about, being very intentional on what you focus on. So I have 3 little key points of how I standardize my problem solving. So this problem has to meet these 3 criteria in order to be considered a problem. Okay? So number 1, my standard, number 1, is that my thoughts are not a problem. Having any negative thought, thinking negative thoughts, having doubts, having insecurity, that is not a problem. I no longer consider having negative thoughts a problem that I need to fix. And I used to get so caught up in every time that I had a negative thought about myself, I wanted to know why. I wanted to know why. I wanted to know where it came from and what's wrong with me, and then how can I fix it. And then I realized that having negative thoughts, having doubts and insecurities, is just a brain being a brain. It's just your human mind working exactly the way it's supposed to. And that is not a problem. Having negative thoughts is not a problem to spin out about. And I have to coach my clients through this too, about shaming themselves for having negative thoughts. It's not an effective way to escape a negative thought spiral by further shaming yourself for being in it in the first place. You know, you have a thought, you feel bad, and then you shame yourself for it, so you're essentially feeling bad for feeling bad, and that just gets you nowhere. So, having negative thoughts, my thoughts are not a problem. Anything that I think is not a problem worth solving. All I do in that situation, and all I tell my clients to do in that situation, is to let the thought come in, observe it, acknowledge it, and just let it go. Observe it, acknowledge it, and just let it go. Don't spend any time on it, and don't even try and resist it, because resisting it is giving it energy. Resisting it is giving it attention. If you let it come in and just acknowledge it, welcome its existence, it will pass. If you allow it to just be, it will pass. So that's number 1. Number 2, in order for it to actually be a problem, it's got to be happening right now. It's got to be right in front of me. I no longer worry about problems that may or may not happen, and I no longer spend energy on all the what if scenarios, worrying about the future, because it's not even something I'm sure I have. We don't know if we have the future. So it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of time to spin out and try and solve problems that actually haven't even happened yet. So in order for it to receive my energy, it has to meet the standard that it's in front of me right now and it's happening. It is not something that I've created in my mind, or it's not something that I'm preparing for. If it is not in front of me right now, then I will figure it out when it happens. When I do that, I free up the space that I have in the present moment to focus on the things that are right in front of me. And when we focus in the moment, we're much more impactful that way. We're much more impactful that way than trying to prepare for a future that we aren't even sure we have, right? So that's number 2. And then number 3, this is my third standard of what actually constitutes a problem. And it's that other people's opinion, whatever they are, is not even on the list. It is not a problem. Other people's opinions are not within my control. And if you want to take it a step further, anything outside of my control is not a problem for me, because I can't control it. I can't even fix it even if I tried. So there's no point in wasting time or expending my precious energy on fixing a problem that is impossible to solve. I cannot micromanage how people perceive me. I can't micromanage other people's opinions. I can't control how they experience me. So someone not agreeing with me, someone not supporting the things I do or the things I say is not even a problem. It does not reach the threshold of what I would consider a problem. It's not something I would spend my energy on, because it's something completely outside of my control. So I hope that resonated with you guys. And if it did, go ahead and leave me a comment below of how you can up-level your problems. How, really take stock of what you are spending your energy on. If you're thinking about it, if you're ruminating on it, if you are creating stories in your mind about it, then you're spending energy, right? Just because you're not actively working on fixing something, you're not actually physically doing anything, doesn't mean that you're not using your energy. You can be using a lot of mental energy on something that is not worth it just by overthinking about it. And when you spend all your mental calories doing all that, you have none left to focus on what really matters. And what really matters is what's in front of you right now and what is actually within your sphere of control. So just to reiterate, these are the standards of my problems. If it meets these criteria, then it's just not a problem for me. I just don't even spend any energy on it. And that's my thoughts. Number one is my thoughts. My thoughts are not a problem at all. I observe them, I acknowledge them, and if I want to feel better, I think new thoughts. I think better thoughts. I do not try and fix my negative thoughts. They are not here to be fixed. They're here to be observed. They're here to be illuminating. They're here to show me where I have more work to do. But that is not a problem to solve. That is a journey, and it's a never-ending journey. So think about how often a negative thought crossed your mind, just a little twinge of doubt, a little bit of insecurity. Are you making that a big problem by shaming yourself for it? Are you trying to fix it? How do you react when you have a negative thought? Are you making it a problem? Or are you just making it simply an observation? And number two, if it's not actually in front of me and if it's not actually happening, then it's not a problem. There are no what-if scenarios. In my world, there are only positive what-if scenarios. What if this works out? What if this turns out more amazing than I could ever imagine? What if everything I dreamed of comes true? That is the what if scenario we focus on. There is no point in ruminating over what ifs, negative ones, because we aren't even sure we have that future. We aren't even sure we have it. The future does not exist. You don't have it in this moment. So it is complete drain on your energy. It's a complete waste of time to create a problem out of nothing. That's literally what worrying about the future is. It's creating a problem out of thin air. Okay? Not here, not today. And number three, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts about you, about me, it's not a problem. It's not a problem because it's completely outside of the sphere of my control. I cannot control how other people perceive me, and you can't control how other people experience you. Everyone's own experience is their choice. Part of it is conscious. They're choosing to feel a certain way about you. Part of it is unconscious. They have gone through an entire lifetime and have learned certain behaviors and certain beliefs. So everything that you say and everything that you are is already being filtered through that past experience, also, which you have no control over. So overthinking and pressuring yourself to be perceived in a certain way, trying to micromanage other people's opinions is a huge drain on your energy. And these are 3 types of problems that you need to elevate out of. Up-level yourself out of these problems. They are not worth your time or worth your energy. The only thing that is worth your energy and is worth being considered a problem in your sphere that requires your time and your attention is everything that is happening right now. Everything that is happening right now is right in front of you and is affecting how you show up. Okay? And we're talking about your external circumstances here. Because remember, your thoughts about your circumstances are your choice. Your thoughts about your external circumstances are your choice, and they don't have to be a problem. So you get to choose what problems exist in your life and which ones don't by how you choose to think about your circumstances. And there are real life problems that show up in everyone's life. And it's unavoidable, things that we couldn't predict and we can't expect. But at least when you're not making problems out of thin air and focusing all on those, then you have the energy and the space to actually tackle those real life problems that are in your experience now that require your attention. Okay, guys, so that was my rant for today. Thank you for joining me on this live. I would love to know how this resonated with you, what your biggest takeaway was, and how you are going to up-level your problems in the future. What obstacles you can remove from your path right now just by taking your attention off of them. All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming on, and I will see you next time.